Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and today it is a TvZ. It's from the Team Story Cup and it's a best of one because obviously it's a team game, a team league, and these two are spectacular players, so I'm just going to go straight ahead and introduce them to you. In the top left position, spawning as the blue Terran player, it's MMA. The nice little panda foot, I think that it's meant to be. And his opponent down in the bottom right, the red Zerg player, it's HyuN. Legitimately, this is an incredible game. Like, I haven't even seen it yet. I don't know what happens. I do know how long it is, but I just know it's going to be impressive because these two are both such spectacular players, absolutely tip-top and top of their form. So therefore, I cannot wait to see what they're going to throw out, what sort of strange builds they're going to go for, what incredible drops we're going to see from MMA, and really different timing pushes and things like that I have no doubt will be coming out. Of course, MMA and HyuN are both playing on Belshir here, so what's the key things about Belshir? Well, for a start, your natural has quite a wide open entrance to it. That can be a bit of a problematic thing for HyuN if there's lots of Hellions out, for example. Meanwhile though, MMA, he should be able to secure that quite easily with a bunker. Taking a third isn't too hard, it's not a big problem. Taking a fourth base is where you naturally come around to the side, and that means that actually your fifth base can be slightly awkward to take, but that's really far down the line, and I don't know whether we'll be getting that far. Obviously, we see MMA is going to be going for a command center first opening, but that's going to get scouted by this drone, as long as it does actually come over. So there we go, sees that, okay, command center first, let's attack that SCV, try to delay it for as long as possible. Really smart move here out of HyuN, and it just means that it forces two more SCVs to get pulled, and this is really frustrating because the second you start pulling these, you're wasting a bit of mining time. No massive delay on the command center, but it's just annoying more than anything. The barracks even getting blocked there. HyuN really doing so much with this drone in the early phases of the game, and it may not seem like a big deal, but these little blocks, these little annoyances, these SCV pulls can throw you off slightly, and any small change is massive. And HyuN, he's doing quite a big change in what his normal build is because he saw this command center first. He's gone for a hatchery, then a second hatch before he's even got his spawning pool. Really focusing on the economy. These two macroing up like absolute beasts. There goes down the spawning pool now for HyuN. We've got the gas on its way down for MMA. Just the one gas at the moment. He didn't go for the normal 1 CC, 1 Rax, 2 gas. Instead, he's just going to ease off a little bit there. That'll allow him to get out another barracks slightly sooner. He's got the 300 minerals to start the double orbital command as soon as that barracks is done. This drone is still somehow alive. How this drone is still going is absolutely beyond me. It's a lucky worker who's been doing an awful lot of good for his fellow team. So this is great for HyuN. He's pulling it back now, but he's got a full readout on what's going down. He even saw that the refinery is there, saw the barracks timing, knows the command center's down. The only thing he doesn't know in terms of building placement for MMA is that this bunker's there. But guess what? Mr. Overlord is just very, very close to that and will spot it. So now HyuN, of course, knows precisely what his opponent's doing. MMA does see the third hatchery and therefore gets a great read on what HyuN's doing. HyuN also has his first gas up now. That's a really normal time to be getting it out. Nothing too fancy going on. 2 queens are on the way. We should see a third queen started relatively shortly as well, but it does cost quite a bit of minerals to get that working, especially when you've gone for it. That third hatchery so quickly, you can run into some problems. But for the moment, we see that MMA, he's getting down his factory as well as a reactor, so going to be getting some reactor Hellions down, maybe a Widow Mine or two. It's depending on how defensive MMA wants to be. Widow Mines can be really good when you've got a bunker down, because if Zerglings come in and try and get this round and you've got Widow Mines placed behind, you can deal with those Zerglings incredibly quickly and efficiently, and that means that you can get into a nice position. And judging by the fact that this third command center has just started construction here for the Terran, it's likely that he will be sitting in a bit more of a defensive position, but likewise, a good offense is a good defense if he pushes the Hellions forward, forcing HyuN to stay back and defend. But as we see now, the third queen is on its way down. This is where HyuN will really start ramping up his production. He's going to get so many drones out incredibly quickly, and it's just a macro fest at the moment. The second gas only just now being taken for MMA. Meanwhile, HyuN is just sitting comfortably on 1 gas with only 1 drone in it, only just completing the full saturation on that gas now, because ultimately, once he had speed started, he wanted to pump as many drones and get that third queen out as fast as he could, knowing that he's relatively safe. We've got 8 Zerglings on their way through, 2 Hellions coming across the map, 2 more Hellions are in production. The third base potentially could take a little bit of damage, but the Zergling at the watchtower did see it. Of course, we've got this queen as well, and that just means that with these speedlings already out, these Hellions are going to have a bit of a tough time, because in come the Zerglings. They just need to get the complete wrap around, and if they do manage to get this round, which they manage to nearly pick off one of these Hellions, they should get one Hellion down, and once that Hellion does indeed fall, of course, this just means that it's going to be a lot harder. 3 Hellions in total now after those 2 reinforcing ones come in. Will just try and really force these Zerglings to pull back, but HyuN committing to this, making sure that he takes back the map dominance and forcing MMA into full retreat mode. He does actually even get a second Hellion there with those Zerglings before the Marines in the bunker managed to take it down. So really nice win there for HyuN. The only thing you didn't see was that the command center was down. We've got the second barracks. Stim is half done as well for MMA. The macro hatchery coming down for HyuN here, who's getting the 1-1 melee upgrades. This is just a very standard sort of composition. And the one thing that HyuN will want to identify as quickly as he can is whether it's infantry or whether it's mech. But this overlord coming in is going to see the 2 additional barracks being constructed. Straight away says to HyuN, it's going to be infantry heavy, therefore what I need to do is make sure I get out Zergling, Baneling, and probably go for some mutas as well. Make sure that I'm safe from any drop tech that could be coming in, but no drop yet, because ultimately there's no starpawn, and this is actually going to be a relatively late starpawn here, but not a problem, because the Hellions are being used very effectively. 6 Hellions out on the field, just taking back the watchtower control, probably going to come and push in towards the third, which is why HyuN is moving these 2 queens forward just to get the maximum amount of damage off. The Overlord also giving him a little bit of a preemptive warning, but the Hellions pulling back to the watchtower. Now the Baning Nest half done for HyuN. I'm also really liking this macro hatchery placement, because as we can see, a nice small gap here, and that's just going to mean the queens can get in there and be really nice. So apparently there was a little bit of a pause in the live game there, and MMA, he's taking his third base, he's taking up these additional gases, so he's up to soon to be 5 gas. That's going to mean that he can really start pumping out some more tech heavy units. He's got the 1-1 upgrades at a very similar timing, about 15 seconds ahead of that of HyuN's upgrade, so that's really positive for MMA. HyuN, though, he's coming for some Zergling counterattacks. Actually going to come and check up their third base to the right, but will not see anything there, because of course MMA took the base to the lower left. This is potentially going to throw HyuN off a bit, because he's going to be thinking, okay, he doesn't have a third yet, because HyuN hasn't seen this at the moment, and if he doesn't identify it shortly, then he could be a bit of a problem. And yeah, as we can see now, we've got these Hellions pulling back. They are just going to try and really retake the map control. We've got Widow Mines placed around common attack paths. This is good for picking off any speedlings that come through, but of course speedlings, if they do run in a straight line and go straight over the Widow Mine, the Widow Mine's trigger time is actually greater than that, than the time it takes the Zerglings to go out of range. So little cool factor, as long as you run your Zerglings all the way past the Widow Mines, they will be fine. More Widow Mines in production as well, so this is the biomine fashion that we see so common in TvZ, especially at the higher levels of play. Really potent. The first 2 medevacs only actually now just hitting the field, so therefore HyuN has been able to sit back and drone up really quite heavily, but MMA ahead in the worker count by 1, but that could be going over soon, because in comes some banelings to the natural. The supply depot was up. Those 2 additional banelings are going to get some more detonations. That was a good little run by HyuN, getting 11 kills, really nice, and now also running through with some more speedlings, potentially going up into the third. Not going there yet though, instead just pulling back, biding his time, but a nice little engagement, and we can see that obviously the worker count now favouring HyuN, but not by enough when you factor in those mules. HyuN starting up his Spire, so Ling Bling Muta is on its way. He's got the 2-2 upgrades already starting, and that's alongside the 2-2 upgrades already on the way down for MMA, but MMA is being forced to pull back from over. The Widow Mine did get a burrow down, a good detonation there, gets quite a few units, but a lot of MMA's forces are getting trapped out here. There's still so many more banelings, so many more Zerglings. The SCV line could be running into some problems, but for the moment this has been held. There's more Zerglings though still around. They're just doing the odd little bit of damage, but only a couple more workers have been killed. Great splitting by the Terran player, and he held off quite comfortably actually, with so many banelings coming in. That could have gone disastrously worse and done huge amounts of damage, but for the moment MMA is still safe. He's still in this. In terms of the worker count, he's only 1 down on that of his opponent. We've got the medevac now coming in for the drops. We've got the Zergling counter push coming through. He does manage to get a detonation off. A lot of banelings are morphing there. Where are these medevacs going to be going? There's also the push coming across the center. This third base going to be running into some problems too. A Spore and a Spine coming down, but in comes the medevac just as the Spore finishes. That's quite unfortunate. The Zerglings are there as well to defend. More speedlings running in to the top. Units in the center of the map are getting pulled back. The drop is got cleaned up incredibly effectively. The bunker goes down. There's still 2 banelings rolling on forward. Can they get some nice detonations on some of those SCVs? Well, no, not for the moment they don't. Just a couple more workers have been killed. The push in the center of the map just being used to clean out creep for the time being. But in come the banelings rolling through everything. Massive detonations there for the Quantic player, exactly what he'd want. HyuN also expanding to his 4th base to the right, but drops coming down to the main base. Unfortunately, some of that drop coming on the wrong side of the cliff. A bit of a misstep there. And oh no, the 3rd base is completely undefended here now after that aggression from MMA. That means HyuN able to take out a lot of these SCVs. This is a brilliant circling run by the banelings. They weren't even needed on that bunker, and the gas going down as well now. This is looking really solid, but the 4th base for HyuN has been now scouted by MMA's drop and is taking quite a considerable amount of damage. But look at this stream of units coming over. HyuN shouldn't lose this base, and indeed he doesn't. No force to cancel. More Zerglings coming through. One of his front Zerglings did get caught out there, so the detonation did go off. That's prompting MMA to pull back, but these two, they look really similar, but the big thing I want to note is that HyuN is behind in supply. That's a bit of a problem for him, especially when he doesn't have an upgrade advantage. They're both tied at 2-2 upgrades, and 3-3 getting started sooner for MMA. And with that, with the supply advantage, he's not actually in too much of a problem, because he should have some relatively good trades. The Mutalisks are not out on the field yet, even though the Spire has been done for a long time. 40 more Zerglings are on their way. HyuN looking to just try and go for this counter-attack style, trying to get more banelings out, also starting Burrow. But the reason he can't really use those mute as much is because there's just so many Marines and those Widow Mines about, and that means that he's really stuck on this Zergling Baneling tech. But with good splitting, MMA won't have too many problems dealing with this. We've got a small infantry push coming forward, but so many units streaming out everywhere for the Terran. The watchtower to the right also now getting taken. A drop coming in towards the main base. There's a couple of units there. Will they be able to deal with it in time? The Widow Mine does get dropped out. Will burrow up, and of course that's very important, getting that. But Zerglings are streaming back in towards the natural and main base. A couple of reinforcements from those barracks are on their way through, but a lot of Zerglings, except they get cleaned up very comfortably. A few baneling hits do go off. We've got another push down the left-hand side here. These two really going at it, just such incredible play. But HyuN has killed a tremendous amount of workers this game. 43 workers killed by HyuN so far. That is insane. But MMA, he's still staying up equal in terms of the work count. Actually, one above that of the Zerg player, favouring Terran so heavily. A couple of Widow Mines are there, so the detonations go off, and of course all of the Marines die as well. But that's the thing is, MMA is still vastly ahead in terms of the supply count at 152 to 109. A 40 supply advantage is huge in this matchup, and especially when it's favouring the Terran player. The Mutas are finally hitting the field, so a couple of SCVs will be going down. This right-hand base is trying to get retaken, but the medevac can see that it's there. Therefore, all of MMA's choices will be revolving around whether he wants to try and force that to cancel or not. Some Zerglings are running forward, but they're running straight into this infantry, and 3-3 upgrades are nearly complete for MMA, whereas 3-3 not even yet started for HyuN. He doesn't have his hive finished, and that's what's causing the massive delay. This command center does unfortunately get stopped. We've got some banelings, some Zerglings running forward, trying to pick up some of these Marines. The Widow Mine's doing some good damage, good splitting yet again, more Widow Mine detonations going off. This is great play by MMA at the moment, and HyuN, he's got a couple of Burrow banelings he desperately wants to use, but they are not going to get any fun as of yet. The Marines run straight past them. On the other side of the map, we've got the Zerglings trying to retake some of this space. Another Widow Mine is still sitting here in the main. Luckily, a single Overseer there to grant detection. This base at the right is going to be forced to cancel once more, and this is where MMA is starting to take a dominating lead. He's nearly got a 70 supply advantage. The Muta at the third base has been taken out. The only thing which really concerns me for MMA is he's mined out his main. He hasn't yet tried to take a fourth base, even though he's got this fourth command center half done. The SCV was killed and he never restarted. The drop is coming down in the main yet again, though. Meanwhile, we've got a push coming in towards the third at the left. Quite a few banelings are there, but a lot of Marines. Will the splitting be good enough? MMA, no splits at all as of yet. That means the banelings get some huge hits, but the attack at the right is doing even more. The medevac's still there, but very low on health. That means that once these mutas get in, they will get taken down. The two Widow Mines are still in action. This drop was picked up to the left-hand position. In terms of resources lost, well, we can see the worker kill count 31 to 47 in HyuN's favour, but the worker count and the field, MMA at 53 to 36 drones of HyuN. MMA, he's so far ahead in this game. He's going to have to actively lose this, or HyuN is going to have to do something incredible to come back, and I just don't see what he can do. He doesn't have an exceptional number of mutalisks, only 8 on the field, only a handful of banelings, and those 40 Zerglings, but with these mines, they're just shutting down everything so effectively. I think HyuN is going to have no choice but to call the rope shortly. He's on 3 bases, his opponent is on 3 bases, always favouring the Terran. But there we go, there's the GG. And MMA takes the game, and that was absolutely brilliant. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe. I'm Madals, I get new games up daily, so I'll catch each and every one of you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.